Tzu Chi volunteers in Fuzhou visit scholarship recipient who is to take care of her visually impaired sister. We learn from Tzu Chi Hospital ophthalmologist about the correct way to treat pink eye. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Siri Su. Thank you for joining us. In China, Tzu Chi volunteers in Fuzhou use National Day holidays to visit some scholarship recipients. In addition to understanding the students' living conditions, the volunteers also brought them love and care.
This situation portrays the difficult life of Tzu Chi scholarship recipient Xiao Murong. As her mother leaves home for work, Xiao lives with her sister who has poor vision because her brain tumor oppresses the optic nerves.
那你没办法看到字，只是听老师在讲课。那考试怎么办？我没有考。你没有考哦。唉，好，别哭，没关系。
As this young girl mistrusts human nature, she needs love to solve this issue.
When you work diligently, you can also gain a sense of achievement. Isn't it good? If you study hard now, your accomplishment in the future will become different.
Another scholarship recipient is Yan Shenjin. His ankle was injured 2 days after the school's new semester started, so he can only stay at home to recuperate.
Do not move your ankle and try to raise your leg as high as possible. Raise it higher so that it won't be swollen.
Fuzhou Tzu Chi volunteers use the National Day holidays to make home visits along with the teachers from Minhou Vocational School. With the volunteers' love and care, these scholarship recipients no longer feel lonely.
In the Philippines, in the aftermath of Typhoon Haiyan, many volunteers joined Tzu Chi's training for local volunteers. Among them is Villa Babiano. When Villa first started volunteering, her husband opposed to her volunteer work. However, Villa kept on carrying out Tzu Chi's work, and eventually her husband has changed. This is a dilapidated house. Without a door or windows, the condition here is almost the same as 4 years ago when Typhoon Haiyan struck. The house is the same, but people's heart has overcome the disaster.
Buhat ng yung Tzu Chi Foundation dumating sa Tacloban.
Since Tzu Chi has come to Tacloban, we have begun to learn from Master Zhen Yan. My family has changed a lot. We are learning at all moments how to give of ourselves.
Tumulong ng buong puso, hindi yung may hinihintay kang kapalit.
Villa Babiano is among the first Tacloban volunteers who joined Tzu Chi in the aftermath of Typhoon Haiyan.
Mawawala talaga yung mga kalamidad.
When I heard that Tzu Chi needs more people to dedicate themselves, I immediately joined the volunteer training. I also encouraged my son to volunteer with me.
Yung anak ko, ako.
Her husband, who's a tricycle driver, earns only $6 a day. When he first saw Villa volunteer whenever she had time, he was sarcastic and even set curfews for her.
My husband used to say, "I'm just a tricycle driver. Why would you ask me to help other people? I don't earn enough for my own family." However, I told him that if you keep thinking that you cannot give, then you will never give of yourself. On the other hand, if you give continuously, your life will not be poor.
Gradually, Villa's husband changed and has even taken actions to help out.
When I see plastic bottles or steel bars on the street, I bring them home to be given to Tzu Chi.
Villa's son is also helping to level the ground, which will become a recycling station.
Masyadong nakifeel na mahirap kami, kundi kasi sabi, hindi ka mahirap kasi nakakatulong ka. Yung puso mo busila.
Driftwood may be a danger to our environment, but some precious wood can lead to substantial revenue for the government. This is especially true since the government announced a ban on logging in 1991. This means that more than 99% of wood in Taiwan is imported from abroad. Therefore, driftwood became a great business opportunity. Let's find out how the government deals with illegal logging.
After the rain, the Forestry Bureau staff moved quickly to check conditions.
With rainfall more than 1,000 millimeters, we start to investigate driftwood.
This seems to have the fragrance of camphor wood.
Relying on smell for an initial judgment, a magnifying glass is later used for careful observation.
We are looking at the cell now. Okay, it is camphor wood.
Driftwood, which comes down through the mountains, may be difficult to identify because its appearance has been altered, so we need to look at the cells to determine what types of tree it is.
There are 12 species of legally protected wood, including those with broad leaves, such as camphor, Formosa michelia, Taiwan ebony, Pistacia chinensis, Zelkova serrata, sassafras. And for coniferous trees, they include red cypress, Chernosiparis taiwanensis, Calacridus formosana, Taiwania, Cryptotemerides, Formosa fir, and Chinese yew.
If we identify it as a valuable driftwood, we will make a marking with paint, even noting its dimensions, to ensure that no one cuts off part of it and take it away.
Driftwood has become a precious commodity. In recent years, whenever there are typhoon rains, the government is busy with disaster relief and no one has time to check for illegal loggers. This is Miaoli's Tai'an Township, an upstream portion of the Da'an Creek, where the riverbed after each heavy rain becomes cluttered with driftwood. Many illegal loggers come here to steal this precious wood. Due to seriousness of this problem associated with stolen wood, the government has even installed these concrete blocks to prohibit the off-road vehicles of these illegal loggers from coming to the riverbed to steal this driftwood.
According to water conservation laws, those venturing outside the road and traveling on the riverbed will be subject to a fine that ranges between $300 to $1,800. We have done this to reduce the number of wood that is stolen.
Some of the damage to the forest is a natural disaster, but some may be man-made. During the Japanese colonial period, some 12.57 million cubic meters of wood was harvested. When the ROC government came to power, there's no concept of forest conservation. After 47 years, the amount of trees cut down were 3.5 times greater than that of Japan. This means that some 30% of natural forests were damaged. This means that there will be repeated disasters until the government puts more emphasis upon soil and water conservation, which began in 1991 with a total ban on logging. While many of Taiwan's precious tree species are protected, the government and the public actively search for it if it becomes driftwood. During storms, some people like to go out and collect driftwood. This activity is not only dangerous and may result in the government having to waste money to rescue people, but is also against the law. If the public goes to the riverbed to collect this driftwood and takes it home before the government makes an announcement permitting such action, then they would be charged with a crime. But if people take home the wood which the Forestry Bureau has already identified and prohibited, such as this driftwood, from being collected, then they are subject to heavier criminal laws related to theft. On land, river, and sea, driftwood is officially identified as a lost object, which is subject to processing procedures. For example, much like a wallet found on the street. If the public finds some valuable driftwood and turns it over to the government to process, if it is identified as precious wood, then after auction they are entitled to an award which is equivalent to 1/10 of the auction price.
Some driftwood that has a value is identified by the Forestry Bureau, which will pick it up, but the other wood that has no value, we will issue a notice for the public to come and pick it up.
This is the Ximen Reservoir where driftwood is stacked with nearly 9,000 tons here. Due to the high handling costs, which is about $12 per ton, the government has allowed the public to come here and pick through these piles to save government costs.
Some people may have pigs at home or they burn it for charcoals, as this driftwood is useful to them and they can take it back and find a good use.
If I like it, I'll just take it home. I don't think too much. What will I do with it? I'll see if I can find another use for it.
Recently, I came to do some carpentry. I wanted to come here and pick some driftwood to bring back.
When they finish picking through this driftwood, they must ask the Forest Bureau for a receipt to prove that this driftwood passed inspection.
Using driftwood is an opportunity for the public as well as a contributor to the national treasury. However, a downstream surge in driftwood shows that problems are taking place upstream as the forest is facing a tenuous fate. Follow our next report as we learn more about this potential crisis.
In our next report, we meet Li Yani, who was diagnosed with acute leukemia when she was about to get married 8 years ago. In addition to the encouragement and company of her boyfriend and family, she was also helped by her matching donor.
一起加油 I love you.
This newlywed couple have made lifelong promises to each other. One can not only witness the happiness of the wedding, but also the joy of rebirth.
换我老婆一条命回来，这样。
我就还是容易结节宝宝，我怎么可能会得血癌？
就是完全不知道要怎么办。
Li Yani lost her hair during chemotherapy. At that time, her boyfriend Min Jie even shaved his hair 3 times to accompany her, giving her courage and confidence. Miss Li's family also accompanied her to fight against her illness.
我就跟上帝祷告。
I pray to God for giving me 40 extra years to live. I'll do my best to help the less fortunate people if God thinks I can stay in the world.
尽我全力。
3 months after Miss Li was diagnosed with her illness, she was informed by Tzu Chi that a successful stem cell pairing was found.
无比的感动。
I felt very touched because the donor had a successful match with my daughter, and she was willing to donate her stem cells.
After going through stem cell transplant, Yani's body had exclusion phenomenon for half a year. Later, she regained her health, and since then she established a leukemia club on the social networking site where she patiently answers to other patients' questions. She also volunteers at a hospital to repay this love.
She doesn't have much time left, so she wants to cherish every chance to serve.
As Miss Li works at a beverage shop, she has to stand for several hours.
I can say that the donor stem cells are very healthy because I made a better recovery than ordinary people. Thanks a million, and I love you.
Li feels thankful for the donor who saved her life.
My hair used to be very thick, but now it has become much thinner. I think it is because of the donor. I am very grateful because she gave me this advantage. Although I'm allergic to shrimps now, I think it is fine because I can avoid eating shrimps.
吃虾过敏吗？
哎，对，真的假的？他真的之后吃虾过敏吗？
本来很喜欢。
真的假的？
有了你的血之后。
对不起哦。
Not only has Miss Li's physical constitution changed, but her blood type has also become the same as the donor, Zhen Yu Zhen.
People who are B blood type are usually optimistic. It's great. Now I feel very confident in my blood, except for the shrimp part. It is fine to have B blood type.
Miss Zhen is a nurse and she has witnessed impermanence of life at work.
你可以看到他们其实也有找到配对成功。
Some of the patients have found a successful match, but the donor suddenly gave up donating their stem cells eventually. I think the patients had the chance to regain their health, but they lost the chance.
Upon learning that someone needed her stem cells to save life, she immediately agreed with the donation without any hesitation. She went to work the next day after she donated her stem cells. There is, however, something she worries about.
会担心。
会担心，在当下其实会担心，对。
他很健康。
哦，好，那就 很好。
Miss Deng never met her recipients before, and she didn't even know who she is over the past 8 years.
她的家人还有她的身边周遭的好友，就是
Her family and friends wrote a card to me. I tried to find some details in the card because I want to know what the recipient is like. Both she and I have been looking forward to meeting each other.
这样子，对，哎呀，就像她一直想要见我这样子，其实我也很想要见她。
The love between the stem cell donor and recipients will always bond them closely.
For many patients who suffer from pink eye, their eyes might itch so badly that they're forced to rub their eyes. However, rubbing the eyes does not solve the problem and could even damage one's cornea. Let's learn from the doctor about the correct way to treat pink eye. 53-year-old Miss Guan has been suffering from pink eye for 10 years.
When I go outdoors where there's dust caused by cars, my eyes will itch even more.
Her symptoms of pink eye become more serious due to air pollution or change of seasons.
In the beginning, I could not stand feeling itchy in the eyes, and I kept rubbing my eyes. Then by the next day, my eyes were as swollen as walnut, and they were red.
Since her symptoms caused by the pink eye were so severe and she could not stand the itchiness, Miss Guan later bought eye drops. She said that after applying eye drops, her eyes felt cooler, alleviating the discomfort.
It alleviates the discomfort a little bit, but after I put on an ice pack, my eyes still itch.
However, it is only useful with pink eye caused by allergies. Most of the pink eye cases are caused by irritants, and ice packs do not solve the problem. Many over-the-counter eye drops contain steroids. When applied, they might feel better right away. The problem is, if you only apply eye drops once or twice a year, it might be all right. However, if you use it quite frequently, such as twice or 3 times a month, side effects caused by steroids could occur, leading to glaucoma or cataracts.
Many female patients are unaware that cosmetics can also be an irritant.
With our equipment, when we look at a woman who uses eyeshadow, it looks like 2 shades of mud, sticky and black in color. Since our eyelids move, the irritant can move into the eyes. The main point is something that should not be in the eyes have moved into the eyes. When your eyes feel uncomfortable, the only thing you can do is to blink often so that your own tears will bring out the irritant that is in your eyes.
If the discomfort continues, it is best to seek medical treatment. Do not just rub the eyes, because if the cornea is damaged, it could lead to even more serious eye problems. For people who experience back pain and inflammation of the eyes when waking up in the mornings, they need to be aware these could be signs of ankylosing spondylitis. Since many people might mistake the symptoms as signs of sports injury, they might delay the necessary treatment. Let's learn more about this serious condition. For many ankylosing spondylitis patients, every step can be painful. Sometimes they cannot even stand up and need the support of their families. Oftentimes, the symptoms become so serious because the patients might think they have sports injury and therefore delay necessary treatment.
They could suffer from lower back pain for more than 3 months. Many would feel back and waist pain when they wake up in the morning. The lower back might experience stiffness for more than 30 minutes, and the pain could be so severe that they will wake up at night.
To check if someone has ankylosing spondylitis, the doctor needs to measure the distance between his occipital bone and the wall and his waist curvature when bending forward. In addition, X-ray checks and blood tests are also necessary. Nevertheless, some patients only take medication when they feel the pain, and therefore their chances of joint inflammation increases.
When their treatment is interrupted, their joints could experience inflammation repeatedly. This could affect the results of their X-rays. Maybe after several years, their bones could fuse.
The doctor also points out that patients might also develop iritis and experience redness, pain, and blurred vision in the eyes. In addition, they might feel pain around the ankle or Achilles tendon. Since ankylosing spondylitis can be genetically inherited, people should also pay attention to their family's medical history. Tzu Chi's Banqiao Grounds, along with Tzu Chi's Taipei Eastern District Liaison Office, held an event to train volunteers to make envelopes of blessing and wisdom. Let's join them there.
This rice stalk must first be picked over. If there are any errors in these commemorative coins, they need to be identified. It may not be evident to the naked eye.
A Da'an district brother made this for us to ensure that the coin is perfectly even.
In downtown Taipei, 2 volunteers are dividing their duties.
You must pay attention and do it carefully.
Use your heart to do this work.
You have to be very careful and you can't be sloppy at all.
From the hands and eyes of each volunteer, all this delicate work is being carefully completed.
I can't say that it's easier than before. Actually, placing these coins in the right position is quite difficult.
This 10-year veteran says the work may be simple, but everyone does have to keep their head down and relearn how to do this work. What is the hardest part of this work? Carefully applying the glue. Not only do these volunteers have the chance to watch and work, but these red envelopes also contain 70 different Jingsa aphorisms.
These red envelopes contain many different Jingsa aphorisms.
For giving others benefits yourself, well, you've made a lot of red envelopes today, and you can reap a lot of benefit.
This is something that everyone knows, as this seed team comprehends this lesson and is happy to pass this message along.
The biggest benefit is being associated with the Bodhisattva, as I happily learned this lesson, which is my biggest reward.
To convey this love to Tzu Chi people at home and abroad is my greatest satisfaction. In Taiwan, Houzhong Elementary School in Miaoli's Toufen City is a recipient of Tzu Chi's Disaster Risk Reduction Project. As the school undergoes restoration work, Tzu Chi offers prefabricated classrooms. Here's more.
Playing the drums and gongs, the students liven up the atmosphere with Hakka lion dance. A special ceremony is held to celebrate the completion of the prefabricated classrooms at Houzhong Elementary School provided by Tzu Chi. As part of the school buildings are not earthquake resistant, some restoration work is needed. To give students a safe learning environment, Tzu Chi offers prefab classrooms while the construction is going on.
Now we have a comfortable environment to learn. If Tzu Chi uncles and aunties didn't help us build the prefab classrooms, we would have no place to learn.
They work very hard to build the prefab classrooms for us. We feel very grateful.
The parents also feel at ease as their children can now learn happily at the safe and comfortable prefab classrooms.
They provide the needed equipment in the classrooms, and they have even installed air conditioners and the sprinkler system so that our students won't feel too hot in the summer.
In addition to offering prefab classrooms for the students, Tzu Chi volunteers also hand out Jingsi aphorisms books to them, nurturing their spirits and mind.
In Malaysia, the Tzu Shaos at Tzu Chi Academy in Pongshan went to elementary school to promote environmental protection. Over the course of 2 days, they taught elementary school students to recycle and cook vegetarian dishes. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.